Welcome to Safe Vehicle and Off-Road Operations. Here are the 6 learning objectives for this course. By the end, you will be able to 1. Identify the regulatory requirements that apply to vehicles and mobile equipment. 2. Recognize the major hazards that injure and kill workers, including struck-by, backovers, rollovers, and line-of-fire situations. 3. Perform a documented pre-operation inspection and tag out anything unsafe. 4. Operate equipment safely with attention to seatbelts, speed, spotters, working near energized power lines, and proper parking. 5. Apply safe work practices for loading and unloading, refueling, energized line clearance, and 6. Respond correctly when an incident occurs. Keep these outcomes in mind as we go. Let's talk about why this training matters. Workplace transportation incidents are the single largest cause of occupational fatalities in the United States. In 2023, there were 1,942 transportation-related workplace deaths, nearly 37% of all occupational fatalities. Construction is hit especially hard, with 1,075 fatal injuries that year, roughly 1 in 5 of all worker deaths. Within construction, 240 deaths came specifically from transportation incidents. And on road construction sites, runovers and backovers account for about 48% of fatalities. These represent co-workers who didn't go home, and nearly everyone was preventable. 2 threats deserve special attention. First, struck by. Being hit by a vehicle, equipment, or a load. It's construction's number 2 cause of death and an OSHA Focus 4 hazard. In 2022, there were 484 struck-by fatalities, and 63% of highway worker deaths in 2021 involved a vehicle striking a worker on foot. Second, distracted driving, which makes every other hazard worse. In 2023, distraction-affected crashes killed 3,275 people and injured over 324,000, about 9 deaths and 890 injuries every day. Stay alert, stay visible, and keep the phone down. Because of the number and frequency of vehicle-related accidents, federal OSHA has several sets of regulations designed to keep workers safe. Construction vehicle and equipment safety lives primarily found in OSHA Rule 29 CFR 1926, Subpart O, Sections 600 through 606. You'll hear 1926-601 covering motor vehicles, brakes, lights, audible alarms, seatbelts, and glazing referenced often. Washington and Oregon adopt the federal standards and add their own. In Washington, rules that are found at WAC 296, Chapter 155, Part E, mirrors the OSHA standard. The Washington rules requires an accident prevention program and safety orientation for employees. In Oregon, rules at OAR Chapter 437, Division 3 adopts the OSHA construction rules, enforced by Oregon OSHA. The overriding principle, when rules differ, always operate to the most stringent one. If company policy is tighter, company policy wins. Safety is a shared responsibility. Management provides a safe workplace, funds equipment and training, and enforces the program. The safety manager owns this program, reviewing annually, investigating incidents, overseeing training. Supervisors authorize operators, verify daily inspections, and observe safe habits. The authorized operator holds the proper qualification, performs the inspection, and obeys every rule. The spotter or signal person is the operator's eyes, with authority to stop work and control access. And the mechanic performs monthly inspections and manages repairs. Remember, Authorizations, training records, and inspection logs are all required documentation. If it isn't written down, it didn't happen. These rules apply to everything you drive here: vehicles, trucks, ATVs, UTVs, and rentals. You must have operator authorization from your supervisor for each type. Before each shift, inspect the vehicle. If you find a defect, report it and tag it out. Seatbelts go on for every occupant, every trip. Texting, email, or web use while driving is prohibited under state law and company policy. Don't eat, drink, or adjust non-critical controls while moving. And obey posted limits: 5 miles per hour or less when driving on work sites. Safe operation breaks into 3 phases. Before starting, equipment in neutral, seatbelt fastened, mirrors and cameras checked with a full 360-degree walk-around, backup alarm audible, and no one in your swing radius or path. While operating, all body parts inside the cab, operators and passengers seated, reduce speed in turns and downhill, no headsets or earbuds, and Z87.1 eye protection if the cab is open. When parking, lower attachments, key off and parking brake set, chock the wheels if it could roll, reverse park into the stall, and never leave equipment running unattended. Seatbelts and ROPS work together. That combination turns a survivable rollover into the expected outcome. And remember, pedestrians have the right of way. Before you operate anything, perform a documented walk-around at the start of every shift on Form 5071. The rule: if you can't verify it works, don't operate it. Tag it defective. Check tires for pressure, tread, sidewall damage, and lug nuts. Brakes, both service and parking, plus fluid. Steering for free play, leaks, and response. Lights and alarms with the strobe and backup alarm audible above ambient. Mirrors and cameras clean and working. And your seatbelt and ROPS, belt latching and structure unmodified. Then check all fluids for leaks, glass for vision-impairing cracks, attachments for locked couplers and a secured rated load, and confirm the extinguisher and first aid kit are charged and accessible. When the inspection turns up a problem, follow 5 steps in order. Stop. Do not place the equipment in service. Tag it defective. Do not use where the operator sits. Report it to your supervisor and the mechanic. Document the defect on the form. And verify. It goes back into service only after repair and reinspection. The intervals. The operator does a documented walk-around daily. The mechanic performs a monthly inspection, and any equipment in an incident is removed until re-inspected. Tagging out a machine is never an inconvenience. It keeps a small problem from becoming a serious injury. Safe operation breaks into 3 phases. Before starting, equipment in neutral, seatbelt fastened, mirrors and cameras checked with a full 360-degree walk-around, backup alarm audible, and no one in your swing radius or path. While operating, all body parts inside the cab, operators and passengers seated, reduce speed in turns and downhill, no headsets or earbuds, and Z87.1 eye protection if the cab is open. When parking, lower attachments, key off, and parking brake set, chock the wheels if it could roll, reverse park into the stall, and never leave equipment running unattended. Seatbelts and ROPS work together. That combination turns a survivable rollover into the expected outcome. Because backovers cause roughly half of road construction fatalities, backing gets its own focus. A spotter is required whenever the backup alarm isn't working, whenever equipment enters or exits a building, loaded or not, in congested areas, near walking paths, or entering roadways, and whenever a load, structure, or terrain blocks your view. The spotter has real authority to stop work, restrict access, and redirect traffic. Establish hand signals before any motion. The most important rule: the operator stops the instant visual contact with the spotter is lost. If you can't see your spotter, you don't move. Don't become a hazard for other drivers. Secure your loads with multiple tie-downs that meet the requirements. Even for short distances of travel. Wind can lift even heavy loads if they are not secured. fatalities, and lifetime disabilities have resulted from drivers being hit by flying debris. Loading and unloading is one of the highest energy tasks we do, so it starts with planning. Every job is documented on a job hazard analysis and discussed in the daily pre-task plan. Pre-plan the activity, equipment, route, and communication. Brief the driver on procedures, hazards, and who signals and stays where. Verify the load. Weight, center of gravity, tie-downs, and cribbing. Inspect the path for slip, trip, and fall hazards on and around the deck. And identify stored energy, pneumatic, hydraulic, or gravity, and apply lockout/tagout if needed. Once planning is done, control the zone. Establish a controlled access zone at least 10 feet out, a full 360 degrees around the vehicle. If the load is taller than 6 feet, expand the zone to the height of the load. Mark the perimeter with red pennant flagging and signage. Keep the driver in full view of the operator at all times. If the driver disappears, work stops until they're located. And never stand opposite a forklift across the truck deck. If the load shifts or the forks push through, that's exactly where you don't want to be. Refueling brings static, sparks, and spills together, none of which mix with fuel. Engine off before you open the tank, diesel or gasoline. Bond the system with metal-to-metal contact between nozzle and filling neck to bleed off static. Remove all ignition sources, no smoking, flames, hot work, or unclassified electronics. Use only approved UL or FM listed containers, never plastic jugs. Keep a spill kit on hand. Clean small spills immediately, evacuate and report large ones. And diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, is not fuel. Keep it separate because cross-contamination damages the engine. Focus on what you personally control every shift. Put your phone in the glove box or console before you put it in gear. Texting, emailing, or browsing while driving is illegal and a terminable offense. Hands-free is not risk-free. Voice calls still degrade reaction time, so pull over for anything important. No headsets or earbuds. You need to hear horns, alarms, and warnings. Eating, drinking, and adjusting controls happen only when stopped. Fatigue is impairment. Yawning, lane drift. Or zoning out means stop and rest. And substance impairment, including impairing prescription drugs, is prohibited with for-cause testing after any incident. You can be electrocuted by contacting high-voltage electrical lines, even in a vehicle. Maintain a minimum clearance of 10 feet for lines up to 50 kV, more for higher voltages. Use extra caution with dump trucks, cranes, or other tall equipment, and use a spotter to maintain proper clearance. If your equipment contacts a line, stay in the cab unless there is fire or you feel current. If you must exit, jump clear without touching the equipment and ground at the same time. Land with feet together and shuffle or hop with feet together at least 30 feet away. Never walk or run. Separating your feet can place them at 2 different voltage potentials and make you part of the circuit. If an incident happens, the first 60 seconds matter most. 1. Stop and secure. Stop as close to the scene as is safe without blocking traffic. 2. Check for injuries. Render aid only if trained, and call 911 for any injury. 3. Make the scene visible. Hazard flashers, reflective triangles or flares, and your high-vis vest. 4. Exchange information. Drivers, insurers, witnesses, registration, and photograph everything. 5. Notify. Call your supervisor immediately. 6. Document. A for-cause screen if cited. An updated motor vehicle record, a written report, and a lessons learned briefing. Protect people before property. Collect the right information and know when police must be called. For information, the other vehicle's make, model, plate, and VIN if visible. The driver's name, address, license, and insurance, witness names and contact info, and photos of all sides, the scene, skid marks, and signage. Always call the police when anyone is injured, when there's disagreement about the cause, when you've damaged property that isn't your own, or when you strike an unattended vehicle. In which case, also leave a note with your contact information. When unsure whether to call, call. 6 things to take with you. 1. Authorization is type-specific. Trained on this machine, signed off by a competent person, current within the year. 2. Inspect every shift and document it, and tag and remove defective equipment. 3. Use a seatbelt plus ROPS in off-road vehicles every time, the difference between a survivable rollover and a fatality. 4. Use a spotter whenever visibility is less than full, because backovers are the #1 killer. 5. Keep your minimum approach distance from energized lines, 10 feet up to 50 kV. And 6. No matter what you are driving, put your phone away, buckle up, slow down. Above all, if it's not safe, stop work. That authority belongs to every employee. Congratulations! To get credit for this class, take the exam. Thank you for reviewing our vehicle safety program.